So when we can get families, educators, providers all together, we can make sure that Arizona's children grow up healthy and have confident smiles.
Welcome to Talking About Kids. I am your host, R. Bradley Snyder, researcher, activist, and author of The 5 Simple Truths of Raising Kids. The guest for Talking About Kids' second episode of National Children's Dental Health Month is Shelly Buckholz. Shelly is the Sealant Program Manager for the Arizona Department of Health Services. And she is going to describe what Arizona is doing to promote children's oral health so that you can access the service in your community or in other states throughout the country and the world. Talking About Kids is sponsored in part by the Arizona Department of Health Services Must Stop Bullying campaign through its Title V Maternal and Child Health Program. For more information, go to muststopbullying.org. If you think the information in this episode might improve the oral health of kids in your life or your community, please like this episode and then share the Talking About Kids podcast with your friends and colleagues. And now, the interview.
I had been in private practice as a dental hygienist for 20 years, give or take. And when I moved to Arizona, I was looking for maybe something different in dental hygiene. I wanted to still do dental hygiene, but maybe look at a different avenue. So I originally applied with Maricopa County and I worked as a dental hygienist for them, working under the First Things First program, where we screened children, applied fluoride varnish, and did education to all the parents. And an opportunity came up to work for the cavity-free AZ program. So I applied for that and started working that in July of 2023. And I have been doing that since, and it's been a great program to be able to manage.
Well, Shelly, and by the way, longtime listeners of the Talking About Kids podcast might be familiar with First Things First because we had the CEO of First Things First, Melinda Gulick, back on an episode a couple years ago. It's been now. But if you want to go back and listen to how a state or community can address early childhood education issues, that episode is available. Shelly, why is a state like Arizona concerned with the oral health of children?
The state of Arizona focuses on children's oral health because it plays such a big role in a child's overall well being.
Hmm.
When kids have untreated decay, it can cause pain, infection, and make it hard for them to eat, sleep, or even concentrate in school. That affects how they learn and develop. Good oral health is tied to confidence and nutrition. We know that kids who eat comfortably tend to make healthier food choices. So, overall health isn't just about having a nice smile, it's about helping kids learn, grow, and stay healthy overall.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think that maybe other people share this. I tend to think of oral health as being much more of a private health concern, maybe something that your family concerns is concerned about individuals. But when I was looking at the program, at the Cavity Free AZ program, it made sense to me that a state would be concerned. But you didn't just come on this understanding of the importance of child oral health. You actually did some research, or rather, the Arizona Department of Health Services did. It kind of in order to understand the oral health needs of children. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
ADHS in order to better understand the oral health needs, conducted the Healthy Smiles, Healthy Bodies statewide oral health assessment.
Mm.
This project involved screening children and third grade students across the state to help understand the impact of cavities, untreated decay, and dental sealants. The goal was to see how Arizona's children are doing compared to the national average and help us identify which groups of kids are most at risk. The findings that we got from this assessment help guide ADHS in developing targeted programs such as the Cavity Free AZ program and provides resources to improve the oral health of Arizona's children.
And, I got to read a little bit of that report, the Healthy Smiles, Healthy Bodies assessment. And um, not surprisingly, there's disparities. Not everyone has equal access to oral health care, and not all children have the same level of oral health. Can you explain a little bit about what you learned about those
Well, we
disparities
do
that you
know
mentioned?
from the assessment that about 52% of kindergartners and 63% of third graders have experienced tooth decay, and this is higher than the national
Mm.
average. Nearly 1 in 4 kids, or about 25%, still have untreated cavities. The survey also showed that children in low income schools, those living in rural areas, and Hispanic and American Indian Alaska Native children have a higher rate of tooth decay and have less access to the preventive care. And one of the other big findings that we got from this survey was fewer children are getting dental sealants than they were before. That's partially because access to care has been limited and school based dental programs were interrupted for a while, especially during and after
Mm.
the pandemic.
Yeah, and we've had so many episodes of talking about kids devoted to disparities, and once again we see that there are similar populations that are struggling across the board, and it's tough sometimes to figure out which comes first? What's the chicken or the egg in the situation here? But obviously, if we're worrying about academic performance, we want to make sure that all children have the best opportunities to succeed. So it seems like, at the very least, we want to make sure that those populations that aren't getting access to dental care have a help doing that for their own development and academic success. And so this leads me to the question I heard you mention sealants, and I want to come back to that because I think that I'm of a generation that maybe knows less about sealants than some of the younger generations. But tell me a little bit about, after that the assessment is done, what did the Arizona Department of Health Services do to kind of help meet the oral health needs of kids in Arizona? And I know you mentioned younger kids, but you have programs and services for really children and adolescents of all ages.
We do. Through the Cavity Free AZ initiative, ADHS supports our school based programs in partnership with local health departments and community organizations. And we provide free dental screenings for kindergarten, second, and sixth grade students, along with the preventative and early treatment services. Those treatment services include fluoride varnish, which helps strengthen tooth enamel and prevent cavities. We also do silver diamide fluoride, or SDF, a liquid treatment that stops existing tooth decay from progressing. And then we provide the dental sealants, which is a thin protective coating applied to the chewing surfaces of back teeth to prevent cavities before they start. These programs help us identify dental needs early, they protect healthy teeth, and it also helps us prevent serious problems in the future. ADHS also provides educational materials, including coloring books, infographics, parent resources, and a classroom curriculum. And these were all developed in collaboration with the Arizona Department of Education. These
Hmm.
resources reinforce good oral health habits, support literacy, health, and language art standards, and can be used by teachers in the classroom and by parents at home.
Right, because I know that with something like, and I want to hear more about what sealants are, but what you're talking about there with the varnishes and the sealants, those are interventions. But my reading of the information and is that, and obviously we've had a guest just talk about this, but my understanding is that a lot of what we need in order to prevent oral health problems is a change in attitude and a change of behavior in the kids. So tell me about some of like these classroom lessons, some of the materials like the coloring books and the infographics that you are putting out there. What sort of behaviors are you hoping to instill in children?
By providing the educational portion of the Cavity Free AZ program, what we're doing is we're getting the kids involved by giving the second grade these coloring books that they can follow along as the teacher reads it to them. And then we have an infographic for our older children in the sixth grade that is used to give them information, but make it a fun way of learning it so that they can take this information and use it for themselves, but also go home and show it to their parents so that their parents understand what they learned in school.
Shelley, did it come out in your research? And I don't know if this was part of what you were doing or not, but how much of these dental ideas, the hygiene habits, the perceptions, the knowledge, how much of it is generational? In other words, how much of it is you're having to help kids develop new habits because their parents maybe didn't have the habits that were ideal?
I do think our cavity free AZ program is there to inform the children of the best way to take care of their teeth and also be able to share with their parents what they learned in school because their parents may not have had that in their own life.
Mhm.
They may not realize how important it is to go to the dentist twice a year. They
Right.
may not know how important it is to brush twice a day with a fluoride toothpaste, floss our teeth, receive the dental care that we need to have. Having myself grown up in a rural area, a lot of services are not available.
Mm.
And so by providing the cavity free AZ in our rural areas, we are reaching those children that may not have that service available to them.
It's something that I've said, you've said a couple of times now. You've mentioned dental sealants. So, what are dental sealants?
Um, Dental sealants are one of the most effective and simple ways to prevent a cavity. They are a thin protective coating that we apply to the chewing surfaces of our back teeth, and this is the area where most cavities start.
Mm.
The process does not take very long and is painless.
Okay.
So what we do is we clean the tooth, we dry it, and then we apply the sealant and it's painted on those grooves in the back teeth and it's hardened, forming a barrier that keeps food and the bacteria out. We know that sealants can protect the teeth for several years and they can prevent up to 80% of cavities in molars. And so
Wow.
that's why sealants are especially important for those kids who may not see a dentist regular or who are at a higher risk for cavities.
And just so I get I can and provide a visual for my listeners about how this happens are the sealants being applied like on campus? What happens? So if I'm a school and I've partnered through, with a provider through the Cavity AZ program, um, how does my child get that sealant? Do they go to school? Do I have to take them to a different clinic? What does that look like?
So what happens is our partners that work with us through the Cavity Free AZ program reach out to the schools. The schools then apply to our program, and then our partners scheduled to come in and do the virtual educational portion with the children. They also will receive consent forms to take home, which the children then have their parents sign and return. Those children that return a consent form receive a free screening through our services. Those that qualify will also receive sealants, fluoride varnish, or the SDF application.
And do the parents have to take their kids to a different location for the screening and the sealants, or is this happening on campus? Tell me a little bit about that.
Our program is done inside the schools
Okay.
where the partners will have a registered dental hygienist and a site assistant come with them, and they set up with mobile equipment, mobile chairs, portable dental equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then those children come into that room. It's all sterile and treated just like if you were in a dental office.
Okay.
And then the children are screened, and the sealants would be applied right there at that time at the school.
So, Shelley, what can parents and teachers and direct service providers do to improve the oral health of the kids in their lives?
Every person plays a part in helping our kids stay cavity free. For parents, schedule that regular appointment. Ideally, start by age 1. Help with daily brushing and flossing. Children cannot physically brush by themselves until they can tie their shoe. We also
Hmm.
want to limit sugary snacks and drinks. It's okay to have those as treats, but to have those every day can lead to more cavities. Um, when we go to the dentist, we want to ask about those preventative services like fluoride varnish and dental sealants. We also want to take advantage of the school based dental screening and sealant programs when they're available in your schools. For our teachers and child care providers, we want to promote regular toothbrushing activities in the classroom if that's allowed. We want to share oral health information with families and help reinforce good habits at school. So, talking about during February, which is National Children's Dental Health Month, having a session that month that talks to those kids about how to keep their teeth healthy, how to brush, reading a book with them, anything that can help get the kids involved in that or excited for it. And for our healthcare providers, we want them to be doing a quick dental screening. We want them to offer preventative services such as fluoride applications, which can be done in your pediatrician's office. And we also want them to refer families for dental care early to make an impact on that child's life. So when we can get families, educators, providers all together, we can make sure that Arizona's children grow up healthy and have confident smiles.
I'm going to add something here too, Shelley, because I know that parents can be overwhelmed with the amount of information that comes home from a child's school. And, there is so much strange information being floated out there on all sources that I would encourage any of my listeners who are parents, regardless of whether or not you're in Arizona or in a different state or in a different country, if dental services like the ones that Shelley has described are being offered in your community and you're aware of it, make sure the other parents in your circle are aware of it too. Make sure your kid is at the front of the line to get the service and be a leader by example so that other families kind of are aware this is happening and available and can, have the courage to try it themselves because we have the data. It's absolutely critical, and we know it works. And talking about the fact that it works, Shelley, and here, go ahead and draw on any of your experiences, like either in the first part of your career as a hygienist or now in your leadership role in the cavity free AZ program. What sort of successes have you seen?
Working for the cavity-free program and previous working with younger families, it is amazing to me how parents are willing to learn.
Mm,
And
yeah.
you're talking to them when the baby is little, all the way until they're even into high school adolescence. A lot of parents don't realize the effects that a toothache can have on a child because so many children don't recognize pain as pain. It just is normal to them.
Right.
So by having our program come out and screen these children and look for different things, though we are not doing full exams, we're just doing a screening, we
Right.
can at least help that child and that parent find dental care to help that child, especially with sealants. They're really cost effective for children at high risk of cavities. Um, we know that our school-based sealant programs help close equity gaps. And when
Yeah.
we apply those sealants between 6 and 12 years old, as the permanent teeth come in, we're protecting those back teeth from getting cavities.
Wow. So, improve academic achievement, improve oral health, improve social growth, and also improve those other downstream health factors that occur if dental problems are left untreated. It sounds like a win-win all the way around, Shelley. And I want to thank you for coming on, talking about kids, and sharing your experience. I know that Arizona is just one of the states that are doing a program like this. So I want everybody to be out there looking for their own community child oral health programs. But again, thank you, Shelley, for all that you do. And thank you for being a guest on Talking About Kids.
Thank you for having me.
That was Shelly Buckholz. More information about Shelley and the Cavity Free AZ Sealant Program is at talkingaboutkids.com. And when you do visit talkingaboutkids.com, leave me a note. I would love to hear from you. The Talking About Kids theme song is by the Senators. For more of their music, go to thesenatorsmusic.com. And remember, kids are young goats and young humans. And the difference is that young goats are easier to manage.